Okay, so now we're gonna solve the problem on page 272, question 16, about phonology. So, this is the table from Bantu language, Luganda. So, are nasal vowels in Luganda phonemic or are they predictable? So, if a nasalized vowel is phonemic, it means it is not predictable. Or if it is predictable, it is not phonemic. So, as you can see, every nasalized consonant is added after a nasalized vowel. So that means whenever a nasalized consonant exists, there will the vowel before it would definitely become nasalized. So as we can say, according to the assimilation rule in Luganda, all vowels before nasal consonants are nasalized. So nasal vowels in Luganda phonemic are predictable, not phonemic. Now we're going to talk about question B. Is the phonemic representation of the morpheme meaning garden Dimiro? Okay, so first we need to know what means in Luganda. So as you can see here, we marked red. A nasalized E plus a nasal consonant means in English, and aka here in Luganda means little in English. And so now, as we here look at the right table, you can see without aka, bamo, gome, and dimiro, they mean peg, horn, and garden. And so when we look at the left table, you might think, why are B, G, D gone? They disappeared. So the reason is, according to voice stop assimilation rule, you can see here, the first rule, the first thing you can see is that here is a nasal, with a nasalized consonant before B, D, G, the B or D or G would be nasalized. And how would they be nasalized? So you see B and M, they are both bilabial. And D and N, they have also the same place of articulation. And so we can say that according to voice stop assimilation rule, D is certainly a part of the word garden. So dimiro, it's just the reason why it disappears here when saying a garden is because D would be assimilated to N and it would be lengthened. It would be a lengthened N. And so we can say that garden is dimiro in Luganda. Now, let's take a look at question C. What is the phonemic representation of the morpheme meaning canoe? So first, we can see here a nasalized E plus nasal consonant means A. It means and aka means little. So according to the rules we used above, the morpheme meaning canoe would be ato. So as we just said here, ato, because you see there are no nasalized, like here, there are no voice stop assimilation rule. There are no voice stop consonant here. So it is just ato, meaning canoe. Okay, now we are going to talk about question D. Are P and B allophones of one phoneme? So after we looked over every tables, the whole table, we can find out that P and B are same in the environment between A and I. So to conclude, we get 13 akapipi, little kidney, and 18 akatapi, little branch. They have the same environment. P and B have the same environment in these two cases. And so we see, because in this same environment, they still have different meanings. So P and B are not allophones from one phoneme. Now we're going to talk about question E. If M represents a bound prefix morpheme in Luganda, can you conclude that Dano is a possible phonetic form for a word in this language starting with this prefix? So before we start with this question, we should first talk about homorganic nasal rule. So the definition of homorganic nasal rule is that it changed the place of articulation of the nasal morpheme to agree with the place of articulation of the following consonant. So let's look at the word. So for example, you can see here, when we are talking about little kidney, we would say akapipi, and aka means little, so pp would be kidney, and so a kidney would be mpp. However, little feather is akakosa, so feather is kosa, and a feather is like e, nasalized e with nasalized n, k, kosa. And so now you might wonder, why is here m and why is there ng? So according to homorganic nasal rule, we can see that m is a nasal and labial consonant, and d is a voiced consonant and an alveolar. So now, since they both are not from the same place of articulation, we can know that M and D would not be a possible form. So Amdano is not a possible form for a word in Luganda language. So if a word starts with D and it's followed by a nasalized consonant, it's definitely with N, not M. Okay. Now, question F. Is there a homorganic nasal rule in Luganda? Yes, just as we mentioned, when M would be followed by P and would be followed by K, as you can see here. So you see M would be followed by P and would be followed by K, since their place of articulations are the same. Now, question G. If the phonetic representation of the word, meaning little boy, is akapobe, give the phonemic and phonetic representations for a boy. So as we can see here, little boy is akapobe. So we can say boy is pobe. So in kidney, little kidney is akapipi, a kidney is ampipi. And so pp is called kidney and boy is called pobe. They both start with a nasalized E, M, and P. And so this EMP is called in Luganda. Now you might wonder, why is it EMP not instead of ENP or ENP? The reason is because P makes the phonetic representation start from EM, because P is bilabial and M is also bilabial. And so according to the homorganic nasal rule, it is EMP. So, like this. The phonemic representation for boy is E is like this, the upper top, the answer here. And so N is the default of the nasal consonant here in Luganda, and E without a nasalized form is the phonemic form. And however, the phonetic representation is a nasalized E with M. Since P is a bilabial sound, N should be changed into M. Question H. Which of the following forms is the phonemic representation for the prefix meaning a or an? So as you can see, en is a phonemic representation. It can be pronounced as en, em, or eng. And so why is it en? So as you can see, e without a nasalized mark is the default, and N, as we mentioned from the last question, is also the default because it occurs more often than any other EM or EN. And so not EN because of the answer to question A, which the nasalization is not phonemic. And basically EN is the phoneme, and EN, EM, and EN are allophones of EN, so EN is the phoneme. The phonemic representation for the prefix meaning a or an is the first answer, en. Okay, so now we're going to look at question I. What is the phonetic representation of the word meaning a branch? And a in Luganda is a nasalized e plus a nasalized consonant. And so here we want the phonetic representation. And as we know, the phoneme of e is e. And like other examples shown, that is used with a nasalized e plus a nasalized consonant. But which nasalized consonant should we use here? We should use n. And why not m or ng? Is because t and n share the same place of articulation. So that's why we use n. So the phonetic representation of the word meaning a branch is a nasalized e plus n and tabby here. So, question J, what is the phonemic representation of the word meaning little stranger? And so, as we know, stranger means ugeni, and little means aka, so we just add aka before ugeni, and because aka is the phonetic and both the phonemic representation for little stranger, so it's aka plus ugeni. And we should note that the phonetic representation for a little stranger is aka ugini with a nasalized e, but because the basic form, the phonemic form of e is supposed to be without a nasalized form, so it's just basically aka ugini without the nasalized e. Okay, and the last question is, state the 3 phonological rules revealed by the Luganda's data. So first of all, we used vowel nasalization. A vowel is nasalized when it precedes a nasal sound. And second, homoorganic nasalized rule, a phonological assimilation rule that changes the place of articulation feature of nasal consonant to agree with that of a following consonant, like N to M and N to Ng when another consonant follows different consonant follows different nasalized consonant, it would have different feature. And third, voice stop assimilation rule. So a voice stop becomes a nasal if preceded by a nasal C. Like for example, B would become G would become and D would be a lengthened And so that's all for this question. Thank you.